You're live. Good afternoon and welcome to the Baltimore City Board of Elections, March 9th, April 9th, 16th board meeting. We do have the quorum. Uh, the agenda was sent out to everyone. I move for the approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
It's probably moved in second that we approve, that the agenda for today has been approved. Any unreadiness? Any unreadiness? Any unreadiness? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed have the right. The ayes have it. Thank you. The minutes were sent to you electronically. Look for the approval of the minutes for March 19th.
Second.
Has been probably moved that we approve the minutes of March 19th. Are there any unreadiness? Any unreadiness? Any unreadiness? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed have a right. The ayes have it. Thank you. There's no president remarks. We'll go to the director's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you'll see in your file and to those online, I submitted a election director's report. And following the usual format, we start with the voter registration activities, which shows the active registered voters at 407,927,000. Inactive voters, 19,128, and canceled voters, 220,796 as of this April meeting. I provided you with the list of candidates who remain on the ballot, and would like to point out to you that this particular ballot will be a one card ballot with the front and back for the Democrats, a single page for the Republicans, and a single page for the nonpartisan contest. So there's three ballots that that voters will be able to choose from at the polling locations based on party affiliation and nonpartisan ballot. The important dates I highlighted here for you is that the state board will certify the ballot and the content and its arrangements, the layout of the ballot on April the 20th. After which the state board will post the ballot on its website on April the 21st. And on April the 23rd, the ballots will begin to be printed by the state printer with the deadline of mailing out uniformed and overseas voter ballots by May 9th. And all domestic ballots will be mailed out from the printer by May the 11th. As a follow-up to our last meeting, our election plan, polling place plan was accepted by the State Board of Elections on March 26th. We are continuing assessments and preparations of polling place activities. I'll note for the board, as you recall, there's one location that we're still, DGS, Department of General Services, was working to make the polling place active, or to ensure that it's active for us, and that's the public safety. And we have a second location that is scheduled to be closed by the city, which is the Waxter building, and we're in communications with the administration now to assess whether we can still be able to use that facility or whether we'll have to do an emergency relocation.
Of course, is the projected completion date for the one on Park Heights, that's public safety. Is that on target to be completed?
According to DGS phone call today, that is
Target to be
targeted to be complete. The registration numbers, projected turnout for the Waxter building, that precinct is right at 1,100 voters. If we had to relocate them, then we'd be likely to call an emergency meeting. Depends on when we find out whether we have to relocate it or whether we'll have time to hold that until the May meeting. We likely would need to call an emergency meeting.
Is it possible to have it be relocated to the main library, which is not too far?
Where we're looking at locations.
Okay.
We're
Yes,
looking
sir.
at locations to
Yes, sir.
find the best suitable location and the
Understood.
closest.
And the closest.
Yes.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you.
We had a conversation.
Yeah, that's. Terrence, you have a question?
That was along the same. No, that was Hope's question was the same lines, along the same lines. I just wanted to. I know that all of our early vote sites were, scattered around our, I guess, north, south, east, west of the city. I wanted to make sure it was in proximity to, prepare.
Okay, thank you.
Next on the report is the election judges recruitment and training. To date, we've received, as of the date this report was written, we've received 2,685 applications from judges who are interested in working. We are actively acknowledging and scheduling those judges for training classes. As of the writing of this report, we have scheduled 860 plus judges for training classes. So I'm told by the judges team, we're ahead of schedule on that. So we anticipate meeting our mark. We initially had hoped to reach 3,000 applications. We're still working toward that. But with the 2,685, we should have enough to conduct our election primary.
Yeah, I know the last report, we had a big discrepancy in Republican and Democrat. Has that come up in that?
It has not, and I've included in the report, the election judges breakdown, which shows the number of applications we've received, the number that are Democrat, the number that are Republican, and the last page, yes, and the number that are nonpartisan. And so we will continue to solicit judges. We sent out 2 weeks ago a email postcard mailer to 1,000 Republican registered voters, asking them including them to sign up as election judges. We will send out another 1,000 to 2,000 over the next week or two, still recruiting to get these numbers increased.
Thank you.
Do we have when can we expect the statistical report for the polling place parity, the election judge polling place parity that's in line with what is the election code 100201 or something like 10201, which gives it lists the number of judges by polling place essentially. That's it.
Yes, as we begin the training of those judges, once a judge is deemed to be capable of performing, then they will then be assigned to polling locations, and that's when that parity report will begin to be generated. So
so it's going to come after our training, which begins on the 20th, I think.
That is correct. So training will start on April the 20th. And once we start getting judges through the training process, we will then begin assigning them to the polling locations. So right now, there's no one to assign to a polling location. So we're making sure they're completing the training, and then we'll assign. So at the next meeting, you'll have a better picture of the parity report by polling place assignment.
Yes, sir. And then I do have a question about the ballots. We met the threshold for, I know this is going back one section. I know we met the threshold for the Spanish language ballot. My question is about outreach activities to, Spanish language organizations, to Spanish language voters. How are we doing that? Are we reaching out to organizations like We Are CASA or the mayor's office?
So there's two parts to your question. The second language barrier that we met requires us to post the language on our website related to the alternate language, which is Spanish. At this point, I'm not aware that we have to provide a ballot in Spanish, but I'll be happy to talk with our general counsel about that to make sure our understanding is correct. To the second part of that question, which is outreach, we're basically in a posture of responding to outreach requests that are coming into us, because we don't have the staff to proactively go out and conduct outreach the way you described. But that is the long-term, short-term, long-term goal, is once we get the coordinator hired, we'll begin doing that sort of outreach to organizations to ask them to partner with us.
Yes, sir. Then what I can do is I can, start reaching out to some of the groups and to get a point of contact to coordinate with. I'm thinking of Weir Casa and then the Maryland Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, in particular, to make sure that, we're inclusive. I just don't want anyone to, since we've met the threshold, I don't want anyone to be left out. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, so
Come back to.
that, I think your point is correct, and I'll reach out to you post meeting to try to put together an approach for us.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that, along those same lines, one of the things that the meeting the threshold has required us to do is to provide language access at the polling locations. So through the state, we have an alternative language card that will be displayed at every polling location. And then there will be the ability for one of the chief judges to contact the language line if there's someone that appears that needs support with an alternate language.
Do we have any capacity to target with, like, obviously some precincts have higher concentrations, some really residents have higher concentrations of people who might need language services? Do we have any sort of screen for which places would need that?
So as part of the conversation with the state about the threshold was identifying what our neighborhoods are that have those pockets of residents. And so we have identified where our neighbors are all over the city, but there are certain areas where the neighborhoods are more concentrated. So your point is made that we need to target. And as we recruit judges, I believe we do have some Spanish speaking judges on our roster. And the question then becomes, how do we reach out to more folks to spread the word? So point taken here, and we'll follow up on that. The technicians, we've received 188 applications. The goal is for us to receive 200, and we still have the 30 positions that will be provided by the State Board of Elections. We reached our goal of recruiting 12 trainers, and the 12 trainers have been going through the training process starting on April the 6th, and which concludes tomorrow, April the 17th, and they will begin training judges on April the 20th at the Baltimore City Community College facility in West Baltimore, and they'll be there until May the 9th, and the training will start at Mount Pleasant in East Baltimore on May the 11th, and would run for 20 days or so there. The training schedule, as requested in one of the questions we received in the last meeting, was whether or not we were setting up training opportunities for students and residents that work. And so we have scheduled training classes for Saturday and the weekday evenings for those that are in school that would want to participate in training after school, and for those that are working that would like to participate in training after they get off of work.
And we relayed that to Baltimore Vote Misty and her group.
Yes, we've been working with Baltimore Votes relating to student recruitment and the like. That, as pointed out by the General Counsel after our last meeting, there is a requirement that by the election code that The board should delegate or provide the election director with authority to appoint our election judges to work for this election cycle. So I've included in the report here a motion language that would require some action by the board. And so at the appropriate time, I would ask for the board to consider a motion.
Proper time is now. So somebody make a motion that this board gives the executive director the approval to appoint judges in each polling place for the terms that begin Tuesday, the 13th, 13 weeks before the statewide primary on April the 27th. I'd like to hear the motion.
So move.
No, said, he just has been probably moved in second.
Okay.
That this board gives the approval to the executive director, such said requests. And are there any unreadiness? Any unreadiness on the motion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed have a right. The ayes have it. Thank you. So,
Based on the next item on the report is the voter outreach activities. And as I've noted from our last March 19th meeting until the writing of this report, the office conducted 16 outreach events that included voter registration activities, voter distributor training activities, as well as voting equipment demonstration activities. And we have rather full schedule for the next couple of weeks. So we anticipate continuing our outreach there. And I highlighted a few of the locations and organizations that we worked with for your knowledge, for your information. Election readiness, the ballot has been completed. We have ordered ballots. We placed our order with the state indicating the number of ballots that we would need for early voting and election day. And that allocation has been submitted to the state and waiting approval from that. We follow a formula that the state provides for both voting equipment allocation as well as for voter turnout projections. And then we adjusted the state's projections upward to ensure that we had enough ballots for what the potential turnout could be.
did you and your staff have seen the sample ballot as it relates to making sure it's clear what a sample ballot is than something else, so we won't have the problems and people thinking that's their ballot? How did they resolve that doing sample ballot?
We are in the process of that.
That's not it though. I'm sorry.
We are in the process of doing just that. The state has communicated to us to review the sample ballot, the language that goes inside the mail-in ballot, as well as the sample ballot that we will send out until our team is reviewing that. And what I understand from in 2024, the primary election, the language changed from the primary to the general, and we saw better success with the language that we use in the general. So we'll follow that same approach for this particular specimen ballot, sample ballot language. We'll ensure that it seems to be clear.
But I also thought that there was supposed to be the sample specimen ballot was supposed to look different or have like smaller font and a different color versus was that ever settled?
So
The
there's
design of
the sample ballot will be the contest without the timing marks, so that it's not a ballot that could actually run through the scanners. But your other question becomes, what designates it to ensure that the voter understands they can't vote?
Correct.
And that's the language that we will ensure that it looks so that the voter's aware that this is not
Right.
a votable ballot.
Right. Because I know it was supposed to
So in 20,
sample all written through it, like not a real ballot. Like it's supposed to just
Yes.
truly look like this is not a real ballot.
Miss Abigail?
So I was going to say is that's why we put on the November 1 practice ballot. And that did help a little bit, but by it being a sample assessment ballot, it has to look like the new ballot, and we can't afford to do it in color, that's for sure, you know.
Right, but it was supposed to, the font, it's supposed to be smaller, like it was supposed to look different.
Center for Civic Design has a template. Are we? using the
No,
template
I
or
don't
not?
believe so.
Right. Cause I thought that that was the whole,
I didn't, what were you saying, Sam? I didn't understand what you said.
My understanding is that Center for Civic Design has a template that a number of the counties use. And
correct,
my understanding was that we used that template in
correct.
2024 in general and got better results. And so I think the question is, are we, when we're years, are we using that template again, or are we doing
Reverting
something,
back.
or are we doing something else?
No, the plan is to use the template that we used in November 2024.
Okay, yeah. That was my understanding. as
Right.
well. So
Okay.
so it's not,
Okay.
but I think and I guess my understanding of that, just to sort of sum this up, is that was not just, that was both a design shift so that it visually looks
Right,
more clear, as well as a language shift.
right.
And I think that was what
Right.
Hope and Shroud were asking was,
Yeah, that-
what was that? We are doing both the aesthetics to make it look more sampley, as well as language changes that say
Correct.
this is a sample.
Abigail?
Yes, I agree. I think we are.
Okay,
We are definitely going to use State Board's template like we did in the general. I think I talked to Clifford about that already, and we're just waiting to get the ballots with the no timing marks from the state so Cliff can start working on them, you know. I'm kind of at a
Okay,
thank you,
standing there right now waiting for this, yeah.
already. Thank you.
thank you.
hmm
Next on the report is the 2027 budget activities. They are proceeding. We have a meeting with our budget analyst next week. But as we understand it, the budget is moving forward as it was proposed by the former budget director. And on,
So what are, oh, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was gonna ask about, I see the contract listed. I didn't want to cut you off if you were getting to that.
Yes, sir. So I was moving right to that.
Yes, sir. All right.
So
I'll put myself on mute.
next on the report is the projects and status of activities. And the first bullet there is the contracts and procurement update. And so as of since the last meeting to this meeting, the contract with McAfee has been approved by the Board of Estimates. And I believe I reported in the last meeting that that would be the final request to renew that contract. It was renewed at $1.6 million for the primary and the general election. And as a part of that contract, we are working with the vendor to create a transition plan. We have developed a deliverable tracking sheet so that we can track specifically what the deliverables are, who provides those particular services that he's involved in, and the start date and the end date as it relates to the time that it takes to do those particular type of activities. And myself and Abigail are working with the vendor to memorialize a number of the processes that he participates in. As for example, he has historically participated in the voting equipment allocation as well as the ballot allocation. So he, myself, and Abigail and other staff that I want to be involved in that moving forward were involved in how do we determine equipment allocation? What is the formula? And the state provides us a statutory formula related to equipment allocations. And then we make adjustments based on what we believe turnout might be at any one particular location. And the same thing for the ballot allocation. So we're memorializing parts of the plan, parts of the activities that he's involved in so that we continue that forward after this election cycle. As an example, one of the parts of election readiness is meeting and working with the Baltimore City Police Department, who provides equipment delivery, poll book delivery for us on election day, who provide retrieval of election results on election night. And McAfee has been involved in supporting those operations. So ABLEC, under the lead of Abigail, we have created a SOP, if you will, a standard operating procedure that describes what that process is, and then identified the steps for how that process proceeds forward. So that again becomes one of the mechanisms that we're creating to continue continuity, to continue transition process.
Seeing this is his last contract with us to do this. I know there was some conversation about getting somebody to trail him, shadow him, essentially the word, shadow him. Had that person been identified, or is that something you're still working to get on board?
We're still working on that. We received I believe we call it the qualified list of candidates from the state earlier this week. And Abigail and myself, and with Lisa support, will start reviewing those resumes, those applications, to identify who to interview. The idea would be that they would have been on board for the primary. I'm not sure that we'll meet that goal, but they certainly will be on board between the primary and the general, so that they will have the opportunity to participate in the election process during the general.
Okay.
But then with that being said, there are individuals at the warehouse who are now taking different sort of notes to ensure that we continue the continuity.
Perfect.
Okay.
And is the outreach manager on a similar timeline, or?
It's likely to be a similar time. The Dropbox security cameras was approved yesterday by the Board of Estimates, and the vendor has been notified. That is a contract that was earmarked at $224,000 for a 4-year term, and that too includes services for the primary and for the general election. And for the particulars of that contract, state law requires that for our drop boxes that are out placed out in the community should have a camera security system that observes those boxes throughout the entire process. So the vendor will be coming in on the week of May the 4th. The drop boxes will be delivered by the state on May the 4th, and the vendor, we've learned, as I understand it from our team, that it's better to place the boxes and then have the cameras placed on the box after the box has been placed. So we're on schedule to have that done. And I think we received communication that there were to pay closer attention to the accessibility setup of the boxes at the location that the boxes are placed. So we're making a concerted effort to ensure accessibility at those drop boxes. The taxi cab services contract is still pending. The information has been submitted to the Baltimore City procurement, and it's going through the paces. We have every reason to believe it will be in place in time for the services to be provided. Typically, as I understand it, there's not a number of vendors who apply for that. There's maybe one taxi cab service in the city of Baltimore, and they're on board. We've communicated with them, and they're on board. Student recruitment continues with Baltimore Votes, and the not only student poll worker training, election judge training, but also the high school page program. for the students that aren't old enough to serve as an election judge, they can serve as a page. So Baltimore Votes is opening up that platform to program to the students. We had a staff member participate in a call with Baltimore Votes yesterday about that page program. So, and I think there's an event scheduled for this Saturday that we will likely participate in as having a speaking engagement with Baltimore Votes on that particular page program. I just have to confirm that on the calendar. The warehouse relocation project is pending. Still, we likely will pick that up after the primary, between primary and the general, to get back on that in earnest. The strategic plan at this point is still pending. I believe there's a question about whether there's any draft language. Yes, there's some draft language that I've been reviewing, but I hadn't really had an opportunity to move forward.
Who's on this committee, or who's doing this feasibility study? We studied this thing to death, but who's doing it?
So we have not identified the feasibility study is what is the best option for the city? Should we buy, should we build, or should we lease?
I understand that, but my question is,
Yes,
who's on this
there's
study?
we have drafted the outline of what that should look like, but we have not moved forward.
You have,
Yes, I have.
and then that goes to,
I'll share it with DGS. Okay. Yes.
we have studied this thing enough. So.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
What are the dollar values on the contract for taxi cab, and then I guess I was going to say the potential location, but I guess is it a difference in dollar value between the different? Of course, there's a difference in dollar value, but for buying versus upgrading a current building.
Yes.
In my opinion, it'd be more advantageous to go ahead and lease a place and then build out versus having a retrofit and upgrade. But do we have approximate numbers right now?
So
or no?
In reverse order, the initial lease that we were looking at was roughly $100,000 a month, to the tune of $1 million a year over the course of the next 10, 15, 20 years. And so that we know is that's one of the prongs of the feasibility study. The second prong is, what would it cost to purchase a plot of land to then build on that plot of land? And the third cost would be, what does it cost us to buy something to rehab? And then, of course, the short-term lease while they're buying and building something. So that's sort of the approach that I'm taking now to put better numbers on, so that folks understand this is what we're really looking for. Then it helps us make a more efficient decision, informed decision. The dollar amount on the contract for the taxi cab proposal, I do not recall the exact numbers. There was a proposal submitted that we then submitted to the Office of Procurement, and that, of course, will go before the Board of Estimates Board.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Director. Any questions to the Director in reference to anything in this report, or any questions you may have of the Director?
No questions for you. Thank you so much, sir.
Any questions
I did
online?
send you, and you probably know about the list of questions that I sent you. You addressed most of them. What did the voter integrity? I guess it was that voter roll from Secure the Vote. Did that help, or were you able to make contact with them regarding the? I guess to clean the voter rolls was a particular concern.
So actually, now that when you say that, that makes me understand what this bullet point is. No, I have not had any contact with the Secure the Vote. meeting.
Okay. Yes, sir.
The, looking at the email.
The one that they had sent was after our January 15th, meeting, our January meeting, and then I forwarded, to you, Ms. Stanley, Ms. Goldman. It was a list of voters who I guess should be removed from our voter rolls due to moving, death, or, other, legal reasons. And just sent it to you for, verification more so, and to, possibly reach out to secure the vote for it. That's that.
You are refreshing my memory on that now, and no, I did not reach out to secure the vote.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions of the director? Hearing none, any old business to come before the body? Hearing none, any new business? I apologize, I really do.
I even have a report that's about
Assistant-
the president.
Assistant Attorney General's report.
Two things, actually. First of all, as you all probably know, the General Assembly session wrapped up on Monday. We're keeping track of the bills that were passed that are relevant to our work as the governor signs them in tranches over the course of the next few weeks. There are a few that the most relevant, well, there are several that are relevant, but one that I wanted to flag in particular is that one that clarifies what we will do if the Supreme Court holds that we can't pass or can't count late arriving mail-in ballots, which is essentially that we will canvass those ballots for non-federal contests. We will keep our same deadline 10 days after the election, assuming they're postmarked by election day. We will canvass those ballots, assuming this bill is signed, canvass those ballots for non-federal contests, and we will not canvass them for federal contests.
Is there any kind of, in your opinion, the office opinion, if that's going to take place before the primary?
I can't make a prediction on that. I have no idea when. I mean, it'll be by the end of June, most likely. But beyond that, I can't say for sure when they'll decide that case. So there's that. And then the other thing I wanted to say is just a reminder. I know some or all of you have done it already, but to file your financial disclosures by April 30th. But that's it.
Greatly appreciate it. Sorry, I missed over you. And this week, like you said, you got a report this month, so that's my apologies, please. Any new business to come before the board? Any new business to come before the board?
I do have a
Terrence.
question in regards to, it's for or relevant to Attorney General, so it should go under as a question for him about there have been a number of executive orders for voting. I think one of them was even about photo ID. How are we approaching that here in Maryland? How are we approaching the executive orders, or has the Attorney General given guidance on that yet?
We will be following the guidance of the state board on how to comply with the various, whether and how those executive orders impose legally binding obligations on us. We'll follow the state board's guidance on that.
Have they done that? Have they provided that yet?
Yeah.
The state administrator has provided guidance on that.
I think he sent something out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Any other questions, Terrence?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions of the members of the board? Any new business
Yes, sir.
coming for the board?
I just want to say thank you to everyone for your prayers in regards to my mom. She's recovering well, so thank you all so much.
The next meeting of the board is Thursday, May the 21st, 2026 at 4 p.m. here at the office. And for those who did not know why we're here, the warehouse has begun getting materials in for the election. So space is crammed, so we decided a month or two ago, start meeting here till further notice here at the 417. Okay. I wish everyone a safe, healthy weekend, and we'll see y'all on Thursday, May the 21st. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining the call, Abigail, Terrence. Meeting adjourned.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a blessed day. Bye.
Bye, Abigail. Bye, Terrence.